When it comes to video games based on licensed properties, it's often quite hit and miss when it comes to quality. While certainly not a perfect game, the 7 Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia is definitely on the higher end of the quality scale. It's a fun action fighting game that kept me engaged and coming back to unlock more characters and complete the side quests to power them all up. The 7 Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia is an action fighter game developed by Bandai Namco Games and is based on the hit manga and anime series The 7 Deadly Sins. The game features 2 main modes that you can access from the main menu. There's the Adventure mode, which lets you play through the events and battles of the first season of the anime. This is likely where you're going to be spending most of your time with the game, at least initially. And then there's the Duel mode, a versus mode that can be played against a computer player, local player, or an online competitor. One thing I loved about the Duel mode is that it only lets you play as the characters you've unlocked via playing the Adventure mode. Far too many fighting games of recent years have the whole character roster accessible in versus mode, taking away that sense of accomplishment that I used to get from having to work at unlocking my favourite characters. I also love that characters you've leveled up and added custom skills to in Adventure mode retain those same skills in Duel mode, which means if I play online against a person using the same character I'm using, they're able to have their own loadout for that character that suits their playstyle, keeping you always on your toes. If you're a fan of the anime series, the overall plot of Adventure mode will be fairly familiar to you. Its main quests follow the story of the 24 episodes of the first season, but with some additional original side stories and battles thrown in to add some interesting new story threads. There are over 100 quests to complete in the Adventure mode. 30 or so of them are classified as the main quests, and the others are made up of the side quests I just mentioned. There are also trial quests, which give you a pre-selected character and have you take on a horde of soldiers or black hounds in a Dynasty Warriors style battle where you need to eliminate the horde before the time runs out. And then there are errand quests, a quest type where you play as Elizabeth and traverse the battlefield collecting items while using Hawk to keep the enemy soldiers at bay. These varied mission types kept things from getting too stale, although there are many of the trials that are essentially copies of each other that include a different amount of enemies in the horde and a harder difficulty level. Upon completing a quest, the people in the town you're currently set up in begin to talk and reveal intel. After filling the gossip meter enough, additional side quests and the next main quest or city become available. At the quest's end, you'll also receive crystals and the selected mission reward item that can be used back at the Bull Hat Inn to craft new items that can be attached to selected characters and act like runes that power up characters' strength or increase resistances. These power-ups are what carry through into Duel mode, so all that time and effort you spent unlocking the next rune doesn't go to waste when you jump into online duels. Occasionally in the game, the thing you'll be fighting with most isn't actually the enemy on the screen, it's the game's camera. It will occasionally position itself behind a wall, blocking your view of the fight completely, or be facing the opposite direction to the enemy you're locked onto, forcing your character to race forward and punch thin air rather than approach the enemy. Now this doesn't happen very often, but when it does it's incredibly frustrating, as when you can't see your character for a number of seconds in a fighting game that's so action-packed and fast-paced, it can be the difference between you winning or losing that match. My next gripe I have with Knights of Britannia is the inconsistent visual quality of the game. The character models, cutscenes, and the moments inside the Boar Hat look great. The cel-shaded art style is vibrant and captures the tone of the anime series, but some of the environments and battle stages have some textures that look like they're from a really early PS3 game. And when they're side by side with your player character, they stand out like a sore thumb. Now it's possible these issues may be fixed in a post-release patch, as Bandai Namco have been very forthcoming about the amount of free post-release content that will be added to the game. They'll be adding new story missions going forward that will incorporate content from the second season of the anime, brand new characters to the roster that already contains 26 playable characters, and adding in quests for the 10 Commandment characters, all for free as future updates. Knights of Britannia is fully translated for its Western release, but the audio track hasn't been. All audio is in its original Japanese form. This is in no way an issue for me, but I thought it would be worth mentioning in the review in case there are some fans out there expecting to hear the English voices for their favourite characters when they pick up the game. Throughout my 30 or so hours playing the game so far, I haven't run into any bugs. Well, except one, but I'm going to give it a pass because it was absolutely hilarious. The 7 Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia is an incredibly fun, addicting and fast-paced action brawler that fans of the anime series will really enjoy. If you enjoyed how the Naruto Ninja Storm and Dragon Ball Budokai games played, you'll feel right at home with this one. While it is let down by its visual quality at times, and you may find yourself struggling with the camera during a battle, it still had me returning over and over again to try and unlock that next rune and make my favourite characters even better. If you have any questions about 7 Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia, feel free to ask them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next review. This is Joel from Anigame, and I'll catch you in the next video.